Hello and welcome to the Global Fashion Workshop channel. I remind you that we release videos 3 times a week. Today we're reviewing a denim sundress, the review of the finished garment. I'd like to remind you that it was this sundress that resonated with the work of our channel. There were different responses. Some were shocked that now everything will be explained poorly, but I simply acquainted you with the semi-mock-up method. It's not even a mock-up. We just pinned the fabric onto a mannequin and created a pattern. Then we glued our basic pattern and drew perfect lines, the ones I wanted. And we got a perfect top the first time. Let me twirl a bit, and now you're going to agree with me that this method has a right to exist. New doesn't mean bad. Take a look here. It fits perfectly. I washed the sundress at 19 degrees. It's denim. It was a bit loose on me. Now it fits. It doesn't have any lining, the fabric stretches, that's why I don't need any extra freedom. I have a body liner underneath as well, nothing is going anywhere, no need to adjust it. You can wear this sundress with white sneakers, with body liner, shirts, but most likely the fitted knitwear is better, since it won't create any extra gatherings. If you plan to wear such a sundress with a shirt, for instance, then of course you'll need to change at least the size, where you'd have enough space to tuck the shirt in. I want to make my sundress exactly like this, fitting. I like this garment very much. We cut, drafted and created it. It doesn't mean that we'll use the mock-up method throughout the whole video. I showed you once, showed you this method. And now you'll be able to draw any lines on yourself, and dresses, transfer the darts, and be your own designer. It's very nice to have such skills. I personally love this sundress. I can talk a bit about the cutting for those who just joined us. The sundress had a detached waistline. Here we have a wide belt. On the belt we have belt loops from all sides. And we made these small mini belts, very narrow on these gold buckets. The gold is to match the zipper. The zipper is rather massive, so that it can hold firmly and the sundress doesn't fall off. It will be very difficult to stitch in here a zipper, and of course the denim asks for metal, contrast seam, like I have. The upper part imitates a corset a bit. These lines here which go to the center of the waist and make it look like I have a narrow waist. Although my waist is not narrow at all. One part of the sundress, these princess lines, they turn into straps, which are crossed at the back and stitched in the sundress completely. Of course, when cutting such garments, one needs to take into account that denim shrinks. During the fitting, it was a bit loose on me. Of course, you need to take such things into consideration. It's better to sew a stretching denim, so that it stretches, and if it shrinks a bit, it will still be comfortable. Now let's move on to the skirt. The skirt has 2 layers, and they are not just layers. Each of them is made of these 6 rectangles. On the front, here I have 3 details in each layer, and on the back there are also 3 details in each layer with a very light gathering. So it has some flaring, but the gathering itself is very small. Here on hips it's loose, maybe 10 centimeters maximum. If we fold it like this, the skirt has gatherings mostly to be able to make a step, to jump, to walk. I like this sundress very much. I think it'll be beautiful with black or blue classic court shoes, for example. But since I like to run, I'm an active mom, I have kids, my perfect footwear for everyday use is sneakers or some boots. I think any shoes are good with this denim sundress. Of course, it was difficult to sew it. Chislava made it for me. The stitch here is very straight. You have to know how to do it. But if you doubt that you can make a straight stitch, you can use a thread the same color as the dress, and then it won't be seen as much. Or, for example, if your sundress is made of some other fabric, linen or perhaps thin wool dress fabric, it will also look very nice. Then you can go without the seam, just make an inseam or press the way you like. It will also look very nice, but the sundress will have a different style then. We can talk a lot about this sundress. I hope those who doubted this garment, the result of this garment, will change their opinion now and will love this sundress like I do. And now I propose to proceed to the table and look at it closely on the table, how perfectly it's stitched on both sides. Let's look at the sundress on the table. This is a lot of work here. Look, its fabric looks like it was washed. I'll repeat myself, I washed it at 90 degrees and then dried it in the dryer for about 1 hour and a half so that it looks sort of worn. Yes, it became a bit different after the washing than it was during the fitting. Even when it was ready, it looked different. That's the nice thing about denim. The more you wear and wash it, the better it looks and the better it fits. Of course, you see here, everything is perfect, perfect stitches of contrast color. The work is perfectly done. You can look at the sundress as if it is a work of art, although one may think, so what, just a denim sundress? I don't even know where to start. Well, let me start with constructive moments. What we have changed a little after the fitting. After the fitting, here at the bust, we wanted to make such a gatherings. Fitting at the bust. But at the end, we decided to make an invisible dart. Because I can't go without a dart. We have been through this 550,000 times. You saw it didn't get in the way at all. In fact, in expensive brand clothes, you always see such various points for a perfect fitting. One more thing, we took a little here in order to, you see, the straps are a bit diagonal. That's why we need to measure the straps very well. If we stitched them directly, we'd have had this contrast gathering here and would want to pinch here. We considered all of it during the fitting, and of course we sewed our straps at the very last stage. The straps are crossed at the back into the waistline. It is the very last thing. You need to add here 1 centimeter for the fabric shrinking, because in any case, any cotton denim shrinks a little. The back looks nice here. The zipper is stitched in perfectly, you see. Metal, firm zipper. Everything is piped inside. The sundress is without lining. For those who have a course on making a bomber, they know perfectly well how to pipe the denim this way. That's why, if you had the course denim jacket, then you'll be fine with this work. Look, if someone can't do it, you need to look for simpler options. For example, make the stitch along the center back, stitch the hidden zipper. There are many options which can be applied in this sundress. Look how interesting the back is. Here we sort of have a small wrap. Seems like a minor detail, but there are no rough knots of denim connection in several layers. This side goes there and it's stitched here. We have a thin connection seam of the waistline with the seam. And this side goes here and the seam is here. If we tried to connect all these in one piece, we'd end up with such a knot. It wouldn't have been clean and nice as it is here in the garment. Here are the belt loops. We made one belt loop. Stitch the bottom along this belt on the lower part of the belt loop. The upper part was secured here in the upper part. And here you can see the back stitch. Here we folded and secured it in the waist itself. Here we have 2 thin mini belts which we sewed together, turned over, stitched the belt loop so that Well, we calculated beforehand this way, and here we restitched it so that we have an imitation as if we have one belt loop here and the second one. Sort of a designer move. All these things for denim, also grommets, look really good. We made it in a special workshop. The buckles are fake gold look and match the color of the thread, also the color of the zipper. It's important that when you select a seam, you need to know immediately what kind of a zipper you'll have, what buttons, what are the metal elements, so that everything is matching more or less. So, it wouldn't have been cool if we had here a bronze zipper and some silver grommets, for example. All of this should be thought through. This is a midi sundress. At the bottom, you see, it's just a wide hemline and a seam. We stitched everything with thick denim thread. They are sold in every store these days. And now I'll turn the sundress inside out and we'll show you how it's made on the inside. This sundress is very nice inside. You see, it's so nice inside that you won't be embarrassed to take it off if needed. Of course, I'm joking, but it won't be embarrassing to show it from the inside. How it's made. This fabric here is synthetic. Why did we choose it? Because the denim usually shrinks, so the fabric shouldn't shrink as well. Sometimes the thin cotton shrinks more than the top. That's why synthetic is rather a safe option. It will last long. Nothing pills here. It's a bit of a jacquard fabric, just a very nice synthetic. I think when you sew, you'll also select something nice. At the bottom we just have everything stitched, finished on the serger, and the seams are made based on all these details here. The top is fully piped. We decided not to make a lining because it will give another style. It won't be denim style. And lining can pull with time after fashion. And then it will be such a pity to throw it away, so much work. Here all the princess lines, all the seams are piped. The side seams are piped, you see. I wanted to say inseam, but here clearly the zipper was stitched in. From this side, all the rest of the seams are made inseam, except for a seam where the zipper is stitched in. Here the front block and the back were piped separately. We taped the belt with mesh, not very dense so that it would stretch as well. Here, another important step. In such garment, if you tape something, especially if it's across, you need to use a stretching mesh so that the interfacing is also stretching. Just like the fabric. You see, it's still a bit elastic, and it is double on top, copied with this lining fabric, from which we cut the piping. We decided to make this triangle here double, because it's such a beautiful middle, small, very nice piping. And so that we have a wholesome and nice look from the inside as well. This is also made double so that here are the pipings. It wouldn't have been nice, and here probably if you bend somewhere, you need to secure the center front. And the securing of the belt is made because these details are doubled. Piping here looks nice because of it. Piping is merged here with the middle, and there is no unlimited amount of pipings in such a small space. Also, you can see here the top is sewn between these two details and stitched. Because of it, this is a very nice thin seam along the center. Otherwise, it would look rough here if the piping met with another piping, and here, and especially here, where all these pipings meet, it wouldn't have been clean and we'd have rough patches here. All of this should be considered, calculated beforehand. I hope you enjoyed today's video and you changed your mind about this sundress. This week we release a video on various shapes. That's why we'll alternate, because I also want to dress up, and honestly, I don't want to gain weight anymore. That's why we'll sew for people like me and people like Anna and for Inga. Next week we'll have our guest Vika accountant. the director of an accounting firm, who several years ago was filmed in our video as a model, and we decided to invite her again and renew our friendship. So stay with us, we'll make many interesting ideas come to life. That's all. This has been the Global Fashion Workshop channel. All the best from me, Olga Paukšte, and the rest of our team. Subscribe to our channel, like and comment. See you soon. Bye.